Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to episode 3 of Storytimes with Emmett. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you now, today's gonna be an absolute banger of a video because we're doing the first time I tried shrooms. But anyways, this took place during quarantine. So basically, all the plugs locally were dry. Like, obviously you could still get weed, but any other drug was extremely hard to find. And now look, this story takes place with me, Ian, who so far has been in all 3 of the videos I've done, and a new guy who we're gonna call Brad. So it took us 4 days leading up to the actual experience itself just to find a plug. Literally the 4 days leading up to the actual experience were just texting plugs non-stop. I was at Brad's house every day and we'd hit up a plug and they'd be like, yeah, hold on, like just gotta ask my buddy if he can re-up me today. We had probably 20 close calls where we almost had a plug come through and then they flopped on us somehow. But anyways, we're finally on day 4, right? Which is the day that we finally got it. I text one plug, he says, yeah, I got you. I text this plug who just happens to be a female. She's like, yeah, I got you. So, I'm thinking like, we're good. We got 2 plugs lined up. But then they both just started ghosting me for no reason. And I'm on this one plug's private story and like 5 hours later, I saw this one male plug snorting coke off the ass of the female plug. Like, the reason that we could not pick up that night was because the one plug was snorting coke off of the other plug's ass. Take that in. Like, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make that shit up. But anyways, after 4 days of looking, we do actually find a proper plug who's actually about it and isn't just gonna skip to go party and snort coke off of another plug's ass. So I go down to the same school where I met that plug for my first time smoking weed video, and I went there with Brad, so we stay there for a good half an hour until this guy finally pulls up in his car. But anyways, like most of the plugs, they're charging, anywhere from $130 to $150 an ounce, good reasonable prices. This plug ran us $110 for a half ounce, and that was all he had. We wanted to get an ounce, but he didn't even have any more. But anyways, when you've been waiting 4 days, you take what you can get. So, we did the deal, we tried the plug up for a bit, he cut, and we were honestly just excited to have it in our hands finally. So anyways, it's the next day, it's around 8:30 at night, and I'm there with Brad in his garage. We took about 3.5 grams each, and around 9:30 Ian showed up, we gave him about 3 grams. So anyways, an hour or 2 down the line, I'm finally noticing the first effects. I just noticed my pupils get fucking massive. Like, I already have big-ish pupils as it is. Like, I'm talking, they were taking up pretty much my entire eye. Like, you could hardly even see, like, the green in my eyes. So I also started to notice, and I don't know if this was because of the enlarged pupils or not, but everything started to get really just, like, bright and colorful. And I almost want to say flamboyant, but I don't think that's the right word to use. So anyways, I'm not really noticing anything too crazy. I'm not getting any, like, proper visuals besides, the lights are a bit brighter. And none of us are really tripping that hard at this point, so we decided to just finish the whole half ounce. Like, the 3 of us downed that whole half ounce in a night. Now, I read somewhere that orange juice helps to, like, intensify the shrooms, so we each took, like, this, like, big glass of orange juice and just downed it, and then we decided to fire up some tokes. Now look, Brad, he was already zooted, like, he was fully feeling the effects. He probably sat there for half an hour with his toke packed, just talking about all the shit that he was seeing, and I was sat there just waiting for my turn to take a tea. And at this point, I was definitely not sober. I was feeling some effects, but I wasn't having full visuals like he was. I just felt super, like, off and, like, just in a completely different headspace. And the whole time Brad's sitting there talking, I'm just, like, out of boredom rolling my toke around in my hands, and without realizing it, I completely ruined the nug and made it into this gross, sticky ball of just plant matter. Now, after this, I realized my toke was ruined, and I must have been starting to get fucked up at this point, just not realizing it. Because for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to just eat my fucking toke. I was like, oh, I ruined it, like, may as well just eat it, maybe it'll hit me like an edible, which obviously it won't. It doesn't work like that. You need to, like, cook weed to activate it and turn it into edibles. So I literally eat my toke, and then, while I still have a mouthful of weed, I just turn to Ian and Brad, and I'm just like, why the fuck did I just eat my toke? And we all died laughing. Like, we laughed for probably a solid, like, 10 minutes straight. Like, there were tears streaming down our eyes. This was just the funniest shit to us for some reason. But anyways, after we finally got our shit together, I fired up a proper toke, and it took me from, like, a 2 out of 10 trip to, like, an 8 out of 10 trip in the matter of 30 seconds. I ripped a massive toke, I held it in as long as I could, and by the time I exhaled, I was like full on tripping. Now, like, I wasn't getting crazy visuals, but everything was all wavy and warpy and distorted. Now, over the next few minutes, my effects just kept on intensifying and intensifying until I got completely voided out to the point where it was like the first time I smoked, if not even worse. But, you know, I did some meditation to calm myself down and some like deep breathing and shit. And once I was like not freaked out anymore, honestly, I was having a pretty good time. I noticed that the TV was like very weirdly like warped, and it looked like it was like leaning in, like coming towards us, like almost zooming in a way, right? And another thing that I noticed is, you know how a lot of people, apparently, I used to think everybody had this, but apparently not, but like a lot of people see like this visual static over their vision, right? And I get that too. It was like the visual static was forming like patterns and shapes and like fractals, and it was crazy. Like, I especially saw it when my eyes were closed too. Now, like, the weirdest effect that I had though, and the most intense, was I had this weird sense of empathy. Like, I could understand exactly what other people were thinking and what was going on in their mind. And not even only other people, like, we were watching this nature documentary and there was a tarantula, and I felt like I could understand exactly what was going on in that tarantula's mind. Now, to anybody who's never dabbled in psychedelics before, that just sounds to you probably like bullshit. But if you've tripped before, I'm hoping you can like understand where I'm coming from and that you've experienced this before. Now look, this trip taught me some lessons and I feel like it improved me as a person, but that's not what this channel is about. This channel is for entertainment value, and it's just for pure fuckery, so we're not gonna get into that shit, but like, I can tell you this is a drug that's not only just for fun, it's like for self-improvement too. Now look, hey, that's about it for my trip. It wore off after a few more hours and I went home at like 6 in the morning, but hey, moral of the story is, if you're gonna be a drug dealer, then do it properly. Don't flop on people to go out and party. Like, goddamn, like, as a drug dealer, you're running a business here, and that's no way to treat your customers. But anyways, that's about it. See you guys in the next episode, and thanks for watching.